Good afternoon, class 10. I am your Shushmita Miss. I will start your syllabus with chemical bonding. You have prior idea and prior knowledge about this chapter because you have learnt it in class 9 also. Then what is chemical bonding? It is defined as the linkage that stands for the force which actually holds the atoms together within the molecule. So chemical bond is actually a force acting between the two atoms of a molecule. Every system in this world wants to become stable. So is the case of atomic system. To attain the stable electronic configuration like inert gases, all the atoms will try to lose, gain or share electrons. As a result, atoms develop a force to join with one another, forming a bond. So you know, except the inert gases, other atoms of other elements are not stable. Only the inert gases, helium, neon, argon, krypton, they have stable electronic configuration. Amongst them, the helium has duplet configuration and it is stable, having 2 electrons in its outermost shell. And other inert gases like neon, argon, krypton, xenon, etc., they have 8 electrons in their outermost shell and they have attained the octet stability. So what will happen in case of other atoms of other elements? They will either lose electron or gain electron or share electron in between two atoms to get the stable electronic configuration. Generally, the metals or electropositive elements will lose electrons as they have 1, 2 and 3 electrons in their outermost shell, whereas the non-metallic or electronegative elements will try to gain electrons and as a result they will obtain octets or duplet stability. This type of chemical bonds are of 3 types. They are electrovalent bonds, covalent bonds and coordinate covalent bond. Now we'll discuss with electrovalent or ionic bond. So how many electrons are there in the atom of one sodium? Sodium has 11 electrons or 11 protons. So its atomic number is 11. So what is the electronic configuration for sodium? Electronic configuration for sodium is 281. Chlorine has atomic number 17 and chlorine's electronic configuration is 287. Now what will happen? Sodium has only 1 electron in its outermost shell, so it will try to lose 1 electron to gain octet stability. So when sodium loses 1 electron, one sodium atom loses 1 electron, it will become sodium cation Na+. Its configuration will now change to 28, which is a stable electronic configuration. And chlorine atom will eventually gain 1 electron because how many electrons are there in chlorine atom? Outermost shell, it contains 7 electrons. So it will take up or gain 1 electron to get octet stability. So in this transformation, chlorine will become chloride anion, Cl minus. Now what will happen? In between the positively charged sodium atom and negatively charged chlorine atom, one force of electrostatic attraction will work and we will get the electrovalent bond between sodium and chlorine. Na plus Cl minus will give us NaCl, one electrovalent compound. Now, what is the definition of electrovalent compound? Electrovalent bond or what definition of electrovalent bond? Electrovalent bond are ionic bond or heteropolar bond between two atoms is the electrostatic force of attraction which holds together the ions of the combining atoms formed by the complete transfer of one or more electrons from the electropositive atom to electronegative atom. Now, what are the electrovalent compounds? The chemical compounds containing the electrovalent bonds are called electrovalent compounds or ionic compounds. And now, what is electrovalency? The number of electrons donated or accepted by the valence shell of an atom of an element to achieve stable electronic configuration is called the electrovalency. Now there are some examples of electrovalent compounds. Those are sodium chloride NaCl, potassium bromide KBr, magnesium chloride MgCl2, calcium oxide CaO. So what we are finding from these examples that in electrovalent compound there will be one positive charged electropositive element and also a electronegative element. So each of them we are finding one electropositive element and one electronegative element combined together. So whenever student you will find the combination between one metal and non-metal, we will eventually can conclude that that substance is electrovalent compound. The formation of electrovalent bond can be represented by means of electron dot diagrams or atomic orbital diagrams. In electron dot diagram, the atoms of the combining elements are represented by symbols of the element and valence electrons by dots or crosses around the symbols. This type is also called Lewis symbols. In terms of dot diagram or Lewis symbol, the formation of potassium chloride can be represented as, here we'll give the symbol of potassium K, and above it I have given one cross sign which represent the outermost electron of the potassium atom, and here Cl is written as a symbol for chlorine and 7 electrons are shown by dots around the chlorine. So if there are different elements combining in a compound KCl, so for different elements we will use different signs, okay, for representing the electrons in outermost shell. So potassium's electronic configuration is 2881 and chlorine's electronic configuration is 287. Now one electron is transferred from potassium to chlorine shown by one arrow. Then we will put one arrow sign in between, and what will be the transformation? Potassium when loses one electron, it will be changed into K plus ion and its configuration is 288, and chlorine atom will be changed into chlorine anion by gaining one electron. So here how many electrons are there, students? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Here how many electrons are there in outermost shell? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So both are satisfied, but both have different charges. One have different charges than another, so they will combine together by electrostatic force of attraction to give us one ionic compound KCl. Now I'm coming to the orbital diagrams. How we'll draw the orbital diagram for potassium? Already you have learned this in class 9. How we are representing potassium by circling it and putting its symbol K. Then in first shell, how many electrons will be there? 2 electrons. In second shell, how many electrons will be there? 8 electrons. And in third shell, I have drawn 8 electrons also. Then for the last shell, I have given 1 electron here according to the electronic configuration of potassium 2881. Then for chlorine, what we are doing? We are drawing first symbol of chlorine and circling it. Then we are drawing 3 shells for chlorine, and in first shell there are 2 electrons. In second shell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 electrons. In third shell also 7 electrons are present. So electron according to the electronic configuration of chlorine 287. Now for potassium will transfer 1 electron to chlorine, so potassium will be converted to K plus, potassium cation. So how many electrons are there in the outermost shell of potassium? 8. Why? Because the last shell is vanished, or whenever the electron is transferred from last shell of potassium to the chlorine, then the last shell will vanish. Then for chloride ion, how we will draw the orbital diagram? 2 electrons in first shell, 8 electrons in second shell, and last shell will also contain 8 electrons. Why? Because there were 7 electrons and 1 electron is transferred from potassium, so it is becoming 8 electrons in last shell. So thus potassium cation and chloride anion will combine together by electrostatic force of attraction to give us potassium chloride. Now there are some conditions for the formation of an electrovalent compound. The formation of cations and anions depends on the following factors. Ultimately, they facilitates the formation of ionic compounds. So, for formation of ionic compounds, 1 cation and 1 anion is necessary. How the cations are formed? By the rejection or elimination of the electron from the outermost shell of an electropositive atom or metallic atom. So first condition for it is low ionization energy of electropositive atom. If the electropositive atoms have low ionization energy, then they can easily remove electron or electrons from its outermost shell. So it will easily become positively charged or cation. And second condition is high electronic affinity of the electronegative atoms. What will electronegative atoms do here? They will attract electron donated by the electropositive atoms. So if they have high electron affinity, they can easily form anions. Now there should be large electronegativity differences. So you also know that electropositive and electronegative elements are far apart from in terms of their electronegativities. There is large difference between the electronegativities. So they can easily form cation and anion and become oppositely charged and can get attracted together by electrostatic force of attraction. Last point is the high lattice energy. If the lattice energy of the combining atom, that is the combining molecule, that is the lattice energy released when the molecule is formed, is the determining factor over here. If that is very high, then molecule can easily be formed. Combined molecule will form easily then. Electrovalent compounds characteristics. There are some characteristics of electrovalent compounds. First point is nature. Electrovalent compounds, when formed, the bond between the atoms of electrovalent compound is very strong. So generally the electrovalent compounds are solid in nature. Next point is melting point and boiling point. Melting point and boiling point of the electrovalent compounds are very high, because as I have told you earlier also, that the strong bond is present in between the two atoms of the molecule. So it is very the high energy is required to break that bond. So whenever the bond is broken, we'll get the molten state or liquid form of the substance. So for breaking the strong bond, we need to supply high amount of heat energy here. So the melting point is very high. Subsequently, the boiling point, when we transfer the molten state of heat into the gaseous state, we need high amount of energy to transform it from liquid to gaseous state. So boiling point is also very high. Now I am coming to the electrical conductivity of the electrovalent compounds. In the molten state or in aqueous solution state, the electrovalent compounds are good conductor, very good conductors of electricity. Why? Because in molten state or in aqueous solution state, aqueous solution means the solution made by water. So in those state, the positively charged ions and negatively charged ions, that means cations or anions, are very amount of cations and anions are very high, and they are free and mobile, so they can carry electricity very easily. So the conductivity of the substance increases. Now I am coming to the ionization in solution. What do you mean by ionization? Whenever the electrovalent compound is broken down into two oppositely charged ions, present combined in it is known as the ionization. So when we melt the substance, melt the solid electrovalent compound, we'll get the ions, very oppositely charged ions, very easily. Or if we dissolve that substance into water, that means in aqueous solution also, we can get the oppositely charged ions. So sodium chloride will be broken down into or dissociated into Na plus and Cl minus. Same way, potassium chloride will also be broken down or dissociated into, or rather you can say now ionized into K plus and Cl minus ions. Now come to the solubility. Solubility in water is very high in case of electrovalent substances, and they are insoluble in organic solvents. Next is the very fast reaction for combining atoms. Whenever the combined substance is dissolved into water or they are melted, easily they can be broken into positively and negatively charged ion, or they can easily form the compounds present in the aqueous solution, and these are the all characteristics stated for electrovalent compounds. So this is all for the today's lesson, students, and thank you. I will come again to meet you in this channel.